Hello, welcome back, Sonny. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Did y'all miss me last week? Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and all that good stuff. Welcome back, Sonny. Sundays with Sonny, baby. Come on my timeline. Make sure you like, love, and share. I got them today. I got a full pass. We even got the box in here today. Uh-oh, we doing it. If you are a PG County resident, I need for you to tune in. I need for you to tell your friends to tune in. Sundays with Sonny, Sundays with Sonny. We gonna take a serious note, but just in case you all was confused, welcome back, Sonny. Happy Sunday. Come on, y'all. We back. Hey, look, I'll be right back. We not talking about the all-black party. I'm not talking about Donnell Floyd's retirement. I am talking about something real today. Today I'm gonna put on my Connie chunk. I might even get my Jane Pauley out today. Today we gonna change some lives. If you a PG County resident, get your high pots on this line right now. I love you on purpose. I'll be right back, y'all. Sundays with Sunday. But the game ain't the same. Get your friends on here, baby.
Ooh, you know we need you. Yeah, we know you. Hey. Right here is where we need you. Right. Welcome back. Hey, welcome back. Hey, D3, I know you like that. Hey, look on because I know you like that. Hey,
all right, y'all. Just a quick break. Hey, look, this Sundays with Sonny, nothing really changes with me except I got on a hat today. I have the privilege, the honor, and the task of putting forth a story that hit my news desk. What you all know about me is I am very free. I love to interview my stars. I want to know what the world is doing. However, there's no way that I can be who I am without touching this story. So today, I am going outside of my box. Let me explain something to you. I know what I am doing right now. I am going outside of my box because I know I can. So today, I am presenting a story that has not only discrimination, but also corruption, and also all about Me Too movement. So if you are a woman, it does not matter what color you are. You understand Me Too. If you are a black woman or man, a Hispanic woman or male, then you know what it's like to be discriminated against. It is called PGPD 15. And today, I have a couple officers here that's going to explain exactly what's going on in PG County. And I am stressing PG County to make it full circle. We all go to Go-Go's at Fast Eddie's, which is in PG County. We all have been to the Classics, which was in PG County. A lot of our go-go artists, our stars, their community, a lot of them reside in PG County. So if you ask them why this is important, and it's not about a DC thing, this is when DC, Maryland, and Virginia collide, so to speak. And we're gonna bring it full circle. So if you are in Virginia, but your best friend lives in PG County, I need for you to tune in. I need for you all to like, love, and share, because this is a real story. So I'm gonna start first with the man to my right, because I know him. But just because I know him don't mean he's gonna get off easy over here, okay? So first things first, we're gonna go down the line, and I would like for you to introduce yourself. Tell me, what part do you play in this PGPD 15 discrimination case? And we're gonna work from there.
Hi, my name is Michael Brown, 15-year member of the Prince George's County Police Department, and was a part of the lawsuit that's going on right now for discrimination.
Next to you.
Hi, I'm Sonia Zollicoffer, and I'm 19 years on the department, and I'm also a part of this lawsuit, which involves the Me Too movement as well as retaliation.
Yes, my name is Nia 2X, and I'm your humble servant president of the Greater DC chapter of the National Action Network. Of course, that network is founded by Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton in 1991, and we are advocating for justice for the PGPD 15.
How you doing? I'm Joe Perez. I'm the president of the Hispanic National Law Enforcement Association, and currently retired from the Prince George's County Police Department, and our association, along with the United Black Police Officers Association, filed a lawsuit and a discrimination complaint with the Department of Justice.
All right, that is our panel for today. So feel free to ask any questions that I may miss or you all want to know. First things first, I'm going to start with Miss Sonia Z. Let me say this. Miss Sonia, when I was doing my research, I put in her name, Sonia Z, and her whole name popped up immediately. Those are goals, okay? For us, those are goals. Whatever stance you are on right now, you are doing it right, because I only had to press the Z and your name popped up. Miss Sonia, can you give us a little bit about your story?
I came on the department, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. I came on the department in 2001. This was my second career, and went through the academy. I was 36 years old, completed the academy, and you're assigned a field train officer once you complete the academy that takes you through learning how to be a police officer. And a few weeks into my training, which my field training officer was a white officer, it started to be sexual questions. Have you ever been with a white man? All white men don't have small penis. And the questions were just something that I didn't want to hear, and don't ask and don't talk to me that way. And then it began to escalate to, oh, you can write really well. You must have some education. Yes, I'm a college graduate. And every time I would complete a good report, then it escalated to touching, like, you're doing really well, and me telling him, don't touch me, get the F off me. And then it escalated to him exposing himself to me twice. And finally, I just couldn't deal with it, so I called in and said that I'm not coming back. And you can't do that on the police department. You have to go in and talk to someone. I didn't have anyone to talk to because my squad was predominantly white. I was the only black female on my squad at the time. So I remember to go and I decided to tell one of my girlfriends who is a correctional officer in D.C., and she said I had to go and report it. I just couldn't walk away. Now, I'm 36. I have some life experiences, and I grew up in D.C. and, never thought that I would have to deal with this. And so when I reported it to a black female captain, her first question was, do you trust me? And I told her I had no one else to trust. And it took off from there. Filed a complaint, pressed charges, and they were denied by the county exec. And then, however, the human relations sided with me after they interviewed several officers. And in the end, he was not fired. He's still on the department today. I escalated through the ranks. I'm now a lieutenant. And I ended up going to work in internal affairs. And in internal affairs, I noticed that there were a lot of discrepancies from reports coming from citizens in the community, and which our young black men, women, brown, write really well. They can tell you a story. And once I started my investigations, it was proven that these stories were true. However, when I wanted to charge a white officer, I was told to not do this, and I would stand up against it because I knew that it was wrong. I didn't come on the police department to protect and serve the wrongdoing. I came on the police department to serve and protect my community, my black and brown. And when they saw that I spoke up too much about cases, I was transferred back to the same district where the sexual assault took place, back to the same district on a midnight shift. And it took its toll on me where I just became depressed. And but I knew that I had to stay in this fight and do the right thing for the community, as well as other officers that are afraid to come out and speak against what's going on within the department. I even met with the chief of police in reference to my incident, and he simply said it was nothing I could do for you. Go to patrol and
Okay, and I'm gonna try to see if we can do it incident by incident, just in case it's some questions
Okay.
from the people. First thing, thank you so much for sharing your story and being open and honest. You said you didn't have anyone to talk to because at the time, the department was predominantly white. Even not in your department, were there, you couldn't go to a precinct down the road. There weren't a lot of, I'm trying to see where the black women in this department on levels, like even if I don't have somebody I can talk to right here, maybe I can go down the street and at that department there's a black young lady I can speak to.
well, at the time I was a rookie. I just came out of the academy, maybe 30 days. So didn't know many black females on the department at that time. I just remembered that there was a black captain, female, at the training academy. And once I saw her, when she first stepped in the room, and I said, that will be me one day, the way she presented herself. And it came to me that, call her. And she's been by my side ever since.
Oh, is she still part of the department?
No,
She is
she's
not.
retired. However, it was someone that I could trust
Okay.
because it wasn't my squad at the time was predominantly white. And I was the only black female at the time on that squad.
Okay.
And then when it all came out, it started in that same police station. You had they separated, minorities against whites because white officers didn't believe me, and you had minority officers stating, "It's true. I believe her. I know it happened." But not only that, the Human Relations Commission sided with me because they knew it was true and settled. However, to this day, have not paid the entire settlement. But the money was not my concern. My concern was to tell my truth and, try to deal with the situation that I've been through, because now I understand that when a woman says, I just didn't want to tell anyone because the fear of being terminated from the department, a white officer, black female.
Okay. We that's our Me Too. And I'm trying to give it to you in ways that you have examples to follow what it is that we're talking about. Miss Sonia, we're going to get back to you. That's our Me Too. So check that Me Too off. Let's go to some cases of discrimination. Or better yet, Mr. Brown, tell me your story.
Sure. First, give you a little bit of background about myself. Born and raised here in Washington, D.C. Went to Coolidge High School. Actually started after the military. I actually worked here at Howard University campus police for about a year and a half. Left there, went to the federal agencies to be a police officer, and then went to Prince George's County. My biggest piece of going to Prince George's County was actually just to serve the community and do what I love doing, and helping people who can't help themselves. So my situation happened from helping a citizen who was a good friend of mine. I was actually here in Washington, D.C., right down the street at the Howard Theater with my wife and like a brother of mine, and also and his wife. And we were just kind of doing a double date thing. And an altercation took place at the Howard Theater. And what happened was it was 7 individuals jumping on them. And I wasn't there at the time. And when I pulled up, I observed what was going on. And just kind of make a long story short, I came to the aid of my buddy, my brother, and next thing you know, turn around, the department tried to charge me departmentally. DC charged me criminally. Everything was dropped, no case, no court, nothing. Turned around and then the department end up charging me and going to trial board, and I end up getting terminated for presenting my weapon to a guy that had a 3-foot pole. So in other words, I was following the protocol of the Prince George's County Police Department and any law enforcement agency in this area. Once I was terminated, the department continued to come after me. You know, I found some retaliation type things, some discrimination issues in this whole process. You had no victim, no witness, nobody able to come to testify in reference to my actions. I was the only one able to testify, and they was able to terminate me off of hearsay, off of their cells. No one was there to testify against me. You had officers from the District of Columbia that actually came there and said that he actually did nothing wrong. You had expert witnesses came say he did nothing wrong, but again, it was personal due to a prior chief that was at that location due to a old incident that I had, and basically admitted that I was going to be terminated 2 years prior to, and this before my whole situation even went to trial or anything like that. So they already had it premeditated that I was going to be terminated based off some personal issues.
And Sonny, let me throw something at you.
Sure.
More recent. Just last year, December, we had a white Charles County officer come to Prince George's County, get drunk in a bar, in a sports bar, and there was this patron who was there to watch the game, eat some food. He just walked in, hadn't even drank any drinks yet. This Charles County officer was there with a couple other people. He was drunk, stone cold drunk. He takes some fries and throws it in this guy's face. The guy is black, and he says something to the effect of, "Eat this and," tells them. So they get into it. Now, this is all on camera inside the TA, inside the store. And they get into a scuffle and everything. This officer pulls out his gun, all right, over a fight. Pulls out his gun. People scatter everywhere. And the short story is the guy that he pulled out the gun on grabbed a knife from the kitchen and stabbed him twice. PG came, and guess who they locked up? They didn't lock up the officer. They covered it up. This was just last year. That white officer was not arrested. The black male was arrested. Matter of fact, you know, he'll be going to court soon here, either this month or pretty soon after.
Wasn't he in there for 30 days, sir?
And he was in jail for the holidays. Meanwhile, this officer's blood level was 3 times the limit. He had a gun inside the bar. People scattered. He didn't get arrested. And then, you know, there's also another issue that came up where he had some drugs and a gun in his cruiser outside in the car.
A large amount of money.
Yeah.
Okay,
Same officer.
Same officer.
okay, I guess, well, one of my questions is, especially to you two, you all from DC, familiar with DC. Why not join the DC Police Department?
Well, the DC Police Department at the time, when I was with Howard University, I was going to go to DC. Prince George's County Police just actually hired me first before me getting, going that route. At that time, I was just trying to serve a community and help out people. That's really about it. So it really is no big issue about DC or PG. There's no gripe or vendetta against DC or anything like that.
Right.
It's just, time opportunity.
And I ask because we've all heard about how PG police officers are. Did you all think you were going to change something?
Absolutely. And again, I'm going to start for a second, just real quick. Absolutely. And again, from my mindset, coming from D.C., grew up in the city, not too far from here, near Howard University area, know the ins and outs of the streets, but not participating in that type of culture. At that point, yeah. And next thing you know, I get out there, and I am making a difference in the community. I was working in Oxon Hill, community policing, talking to my community, enjoying my community. But the problem is, unfortunately, is they start hiring a lot of people from outside of our communities, which is from Pennsylvania, stuff like that, big recruiting things outside of Prince George's County or the state of Maryland. And one of the big things is people don't understand the city culture. You know, they call Oxon Hill DC Extended, and I understood what we were going through, and I was able to deal with that and be fair and help out people.
How about you, Miss Sonia?
I applied for several law enforcement associations because a lot of members, a lot of police officers that I know I grew up with, and this was my second career. I was a meeting planner, so I traveled everywhere. But this was something I wanted to do because I wanted to be an investigator. That was my purpose, to investigate serious cases and interrogation, and that was my goal. So Prince George's County contacted me, and I decided to go with Prince George's County. Now, of course, we've heard about things, you know, officers giving the beat down back in the day, you know, don't cross the line in Prince George's County.
Right.
It wasn't about, it was who made the call first, and it was something I want to do. But I'm supposed to be here.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be where I am now. I'm supposed to be in this situation because there's a reason why the man above put me here. And that is to make a difference, more so than with the community. However, to continue to speak up when I've been there. It's almost like saying, it is like you've been in the belly of the beast, so you know how they operate.
And Sonny, may I say real quick to add on to that question, I am a retired police officer, 30 years.
Does that make your job easier or harder?
It helps. It doesn't make it harder. But
Okay.
to add to your question, the culture of racism, white supremacy within police departments is definitely national, if not to say not international, because we've all witnessed on television police officers, mostly white, if not all white, majority white, killing young black, mostly men. And of course, when you talk New York, for an example, when Reverend Sharpton and the National Action Network led the stop and frisk, they were people of color that were always being stopped, harassed by the police department in New York. So this culture of racism, white supremacy is definitely a national problem, even within the agency I retired from, which again is DOD, where I didn't get one promotion in 30 years, not one. And it is because I always fought against what was going on within the department, which was racism, white supremacy, sexism, and all of the illegal lifestyles that come within the police department. So when I met these officers and heard of their serious discrepancies, it was just familiar territory because I witnessed and experienced the same type of behavior. And it's my pleasure to help them as much as we can.
And also, I understand that when they can't fight the facts, they attack the individuals that report the facts. So we have individuals like you and other people outside of the police department that are fighting for the rights of black and brown. You have officers like myself and others that are sitting here that were within the department, knows how the department runs, knows how they will cover up certain things or make it go away, and I was one to just say no, not doing it, not having it. You know, it wasn't about the matter of loyalty to the blue line. It was a matter of justice for the community, which I took an oath to serve.
Going through the research again, just trying to figure out how the police department works. A lot of us just believe you officers come out there, you talk to a commanding chief. That's what we see on Chicago PD, something like that. In Maryland, you have the chief of police. What's his last name?
Stawinski.
And I'm gonna tell you something. Usually when I can't pronounce their last name, they really ain't rocking off much. Okay. Then we have him, and we have Angela Oso Brooks. Does she work directly with the police department? Let me ask you that.
Well, let me answer that. She's the chief's boss, and she got elected to county executive, first black female. We were all ecstatic about it. We thought that we were going to see change. It was an opportunity for her to make things right because we already had a DOJ discrimination civil rights complaint, and she kept the whole administration. She kept the public safety director. She kept the chief of police. You know who she got rid of? She got rid of the black fire chief. That's who she got rid of. You know, so we've been very disappointed with her.
And that was my next question. So is it safe to say that everybody on the panel was excited when Angela Oso Brooks was running?
Absolutely.
Yes, because she
Yes.
looks like me.
Okay.
So, hey, she looks like me. Let's go out and, vote for her because she looks like me, another black female, knowing what I stand for and believing that this black female would be standing up to represent for her community, all of, the state of Maryland. However,
It's not manifesting.
It's not manifesting.
No.
And you know
She sold
something
you a
else,
dream.
Sonny, when you consider within the police departments the fear factor, there are a lot of officers who basically are afraid, and it's embarrassing, of white people. See, I wasn't afraid, but they are. They are afraid of that culture. If I went to an officer and we know that a situation was wrong, and I say, look, we need to go say something, that other officer would consider themselves personally, I might get whatever. I don't know what they were going through. But
they
that,
do this all the time. Why are you gonna try to fix it? We're used to it.
Well,
I'm not used to it. Let's fix it.
my point is, that fear factor. And then the person like myself who would speak up, now I'm labeled. I'm a troublemaker.
Exactly.
In fact, they called me the militant midget after what's his name on Good Times?
Yeah,
It was a
Michael
compliment to me. It was a compliment. Call me what you want. But I'm not going to go along to get along. You can keep your money. I'm going to be outspoken. I don't care who you are. I'll write you up like you're threatening to write me up. But everybody doesn't have that backbone. And without it, then the culture of the supremacy or the supreme culture can really make life difficult for you, really make life or attempt to make life difficult for you. And it's based on your religion, it's based on how you're brought up, it's based on your character, it's based on the books you're reading or not reading, of what decision you're going to make, whether you're going to push forward like these officers are on the fact of being right, of being good, and being responsible for the badge you wear to protect and preserve the integrity of the community. And you don't have many like that.
Quick, I guess my biggest thing is if you all know these things about PG police, one of the things that I asked you all was, do you want your job back? And I believe somebody said they want their job. Why want your job back if you know that this is what it is?
Because the fact that show that, we don't give up. That's one of the things, perseverance for me. I always been taught my whole life to fight for what's right, and that's just me. If I did something wrong, I'll be humble and try to hope I can do what I need to do. But when I know I did nothing wrong and everybody else know I did nothing wrong, and for me to walk back and put that uniform back on, it shows a big thing that, hey, perseverance is huge. Also, it shows them that they're not the power that they think they are. We are a big power, and I'm gonna just use this word for a second. What they're using is called professional racism. Okay, professional racism. The way they use racism is professionally. All right, where sometimes it's hid behind doors, things like that. And what they do is they create a environment where fear and all that stuff is going on inside the departments. But what you're not understanding is this fear and all the racism and all the retaliation and all that stuff is now spilling out into your communities. And that's one of the big pieces we're pushing here, which you're not understanding. When your child getting beat by the police, when your child getting killed by the police, when your child getting assaulted and getting accosted, all that stuff, or everything that's wrong. See, and you think it's coming from just that individual. It's coming from a house that allows it to happen, right? And when people speak up to actually do something about it, they get retaliated against, they get ostracized, they get terminated, they get all these things against them. And to answer that question again even more, it'll be a pride thing. Why? Because I take pride in what I do.
I'll testify to that. Would you worry about retaliation, though?
Here's the big piece. They can't do nothing to me they haven't already done.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's the way I look at it.
And we need to be there. You hear people say, I don't want to go in the police department because they're racist and they're racist. However, how do we protect and serve if we're not a part of, trying to make it right within? You have people, you have the community that are trying to make it right outside of the department, but I have to be inside. I have to fight with them because I know that what I'm doing is the right thing, because I have to go home and go to sleep at night knowing that there are several officers. Yes, I've complained on officers. I've loud, proud, and made it clear that what he did was wrong.
That's right.
And I'm going to speak up about it. And then you ignore it until it makes news, until it's newsworthy. And told you that was going to happen. But we shouldn't have to wait for that. And you do have officers within that very much afraid. They'll come and tell us everything, some.
Okay.
But they don't want to be out in the forefront because they see what we're dealing with. I'm not afraid. And I will continue to ride this as long as I'm on the police department and when I'm off the police department, because it's just within me.
Mr. Perez, the Hispanic community in the police department, are the stories pretty much the same as in the black community?
It's almost exactly the same, and actually, unfortunately, Hispanics are even lower in their eyes, especially under this president, with trying to send people back, and
Right.
locking up the borders and things like that. And let me just go back to your question about being on the police department. It's important that people like us be on the police department, because the more of us that leave and don't want to be there, the supremacy continues. And that's why you have that culture, because there isn't enough of us. It's only a handful of us that'll stand up and say, hey, you can't do this to that black or brown person, so it's important.
And of course, the old saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So it is special people that stand up, not only on the police department, but on any given issue that is important and an issue of principle. And I am really proud of these officers, because they remind me of myself when I was truly a minority within my department, of being the loudest one, because I didn't care. I'm from D.C. I didn't care. If I'm right, I was raised to run with it, go with it, no matter what, and that's all I knew. And I went on the department pretty young, but I'm very proud of these officers and the few stories that they have shared. Here's a woman sitting to my left, my sister, and a male exposes himself not once, but twice. It should have been handled the very first time properly. It should have been handled with integrity. It should have been handled with a degree of righteousness. It's still not handled.
I could tell you've been around our shop. I could tell, you got to come back. We get sold Black Power. PG County is one of the wealthiest counties in America, basically. So with it being one of the within the black community, how do we encourage some of our black youth to go to the police department? Because I'm pretty sure we got some moms and some dads that's watching our lives and that's going to go back here. And the first thing they're going to say is, I don't need my child discriminated against. How do we prevent that part? Because we want more of us on the force, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do we ensure that we can get them on the force and be not even okay, but they have somebody to talk to, or they're not sitting here with me. How about that?
Here's the deeper part that you're
Good
not
question.
understanding on this. This is the part that a lot of people don't know in Prince George's County. Anytime you're stopped in Prince George's County, you go into the system. I don't care if it's good, bad, traffic stop, just regular stop. Anytime you stop, you go into the system. So when you apply for Prince George's County, all of a sudden your information comes up during your background and how many times you were stopped, what you were stopped for, the area you was in, and what was the outcome. The unfortunate part is it can be a simple stop, mistaken identity. It can be anything. But at the end of the day, once you go through that investigation, they're going to actually contact the officer that made the stop. The problem is if he don't remember or she don't remember that stop, or they want to be vindictive due to the area that you're in, they can actually counsel you from that background check right then and there. So it's actually a system that's set up for failure, because watch this. If you live in Pennsylvania, you don't go in that system because you were never stopped. So which means all your local people that put in to make their communities safer is actually probably cut in half or less based off of just your image and where you are, who you be with, things like that. So understand, it's an underlying cause to this. It's not just because of, hey, when you can't get on the police department. Yeah, they put things in place for those people can't get on the police department, so they can hire outside and say that these people are less qualified, right? Because they've been stopped, criminal background, stuff like that. And talk to our kids what's going on right now, and keep them positive and keep their nose clean and stuff like that, because we need people to come on the department that's from this area that understands our culture. Because I'm telling you right now, people from other places do not understand our culture of DC and Maryland. DC is nothing but extended into Maryland, and I'm telling you right now, DC is Maryland.
That's how I kind of feel. There's no way you could put your left leg in DC and your right leg in Maryland, and you do
Right,
not feel like we
right.
are combined some way, somehow.
And see, I've worked with my grandkids, now me being the police, and have shown them what to do when it comes to a traffic stop. Literally, this is what you do, this is how you say it. And because officers, they had this ego. And once you violate that ego, it's time to say, let me show you what I can do, and not be caught up. I'll give you an example. I was in plain clothes in my nice car, windows tinted, and a white officer pulled me over in Prince George's County. And the first thing I do, I roll down all my windows, put my hands on the steering wheel. He doesn't know me.
Right.
All he knows, he sees a nice car and let me pull her over. And he came to my window, and this white officer just started yelling at me. I'm Prince George's County, I'm this and I'm that, and let me do it, blah, blah, blah. And I said, are you finished? Okay, give me your ID. I said, before I reach for anything, at the time, I was a sergeant. And I said, I'm Sergeant so-and-so with Internal Affairs. And then he looks up, and then at the same time, you have another white officer on my passenger side. And that is scary to know that I'm in the same situation that I know that our black and brown go through, except I am a police officer, so I have to take my time and do what's right, or I could have been shot that day. So when the officer comes over, and now I have two white officers, and when I said who I was, the other officer recognized me, and he was like, yeah, you got this, and he got back in his SUV. This one, don't pucker up now, because I identified myself, and you're yelling at me, and this is how they will treat they don't recognize you in uniform. I'm sorry, they don't recognize you outside of uniform. You're just another black female driving a nice car. And that when I identified myself, now you want to squeeze your tail and say, no, don't apologize, because now it's time for me to take it further.
Let me ask you something. I heard an incident where they have this training class for the officers. And the training class, they have a dummy. And the dummy, they put a African-American wig on the dummy, and it was basically saying that this is a black person. If we have these different incidents where we showing straight racism, how is it that we can't get these people out of the department? Like, it's blatant. Like, what else? It's blatant. It can't be about voting for you or something. At what point in time do the big boss say, I've had enough, you getting fired?
Yeah, well, the thing that people don't realize is the last 3 years, it's been this administration, how when Trump came in office and how everything went backwards, it went back 50, 60 years. That's what happened in the police department in the last 3 years. That training dummy, all right, what they did, it's a gray training dummy, and it's gray for a reason, all right, so that you don't see any particular color. They put an afro wig on there. They put a black face on this thing. We shoot at it with these things like paintballs. We hit it with the stick, with the ass baton. We use force on it. And in the subconscious, what is that teaching officers? That, all black and brown people are the criminals. And what does this police chief do? He gets on the news and says, oh, yeah, we had to make it realistic, and that's why we put the wig on there. I mean, it's his words, not mine.
Right.
And I'm paraphrasing. And he says, a matter of fact, a black officer brought the wig in. Instead of dealing with the problem, and I'm talking about the county executive is not dealing with the problem, what she has done by keeping this administration in place is pretty much make it open season on minorities. Because now they got their chest puffed out. Now they could do whatever they want. They could retaliate against people. They could hurt people in the community. Just like we had Leonard Shan, who was shot and killed by 10 officers, and then they come up with some excuse.
Let me ask you this before you finish. The Leonard Shand and like the Demont Ward Blake, do they come along with you all with your lawsuit? Do they add to you, or is everybody lawsuit and civil suit separately?
What we did was Sonia and I were both in internal affairs, so we turned over a bunch of instances of illegal use of force, excessive force, and things similar to those incidents. Not those incidents, because those just happened. They're only like 2 months old.
Right.
In which I call them repeat offenders.
Okay. I guess the biggest thing a lot of people wanted to know, and you kind of explained it as far as like traffic stops and, being a black and brown man or woman these days. And PG County, so many people live in PG County. I never realized how many people live in PG County. What is one thing that our lives can do to help you all? What is one thing besides voting?
Right.
We gonna work on that part.
Okay.
Now when it's time to vote, y'all gonna come back so we don't make no more mistakes.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, let me try it at first. It may seem like it's small, but it's really big. Share this video. Spread, educate people, because questions are being asked that people ask to themselves and don't really seek the answers. There are a lot of answers here. There are police officers and former police officers and retired police officers that are here today exposing. Some of them, you risk when you expose, but when you're brave, you do what you have to do. So the ball is being thrown to the public, because the more the public is aware of the truth of what is going on in their police departments, where we vote, some of them in, there's a lot of power that the community and these just few officers, because don't forget there's 15, that become more involved. Call telephone numbers, come out to community meetings, swell up in ranks of fighting the good fight, and it makes a huge difference.
And let me add one thing to that. Far as when you start looking at the power of voting, you know, you voted certain people in position. You also can vote them out.
That's right.
All right, and that's one of the big pieces. You know, again, I have big respect for the position of Ms. Elsabrook, but the unfortunate part is she's got into that office and haven't done anything. And I'll give you a great example of that. Annapolis Police Department had an issue with their racism. The chief was fired within 24 hours. All right, and they made a difference. In other words, they made it happen. We're here in Prince George's County. Angela Alsabrook can actually fix this overnight, literally.
That's right.
Fix the problem overnight.
She has that much power.
Oh, yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Here's the big thing. So when you look at that and you start talking about issues that's going on in Prince George County, far as they kept talking about the body cameras and all that stuff and how much it costs, like $1 million to do this. I just want you to understand right now, in this lawsuit, they already done put over $2 to $3 million just to fight a lawsuit where you can fix this overnight.
Just to defend
Just to
discrimination on their
defend
part.
their issue. So understand where your money is going in Prince George's County. It's not going to your body cameras. It's not going to your public community services and stuff like that. It's going straight to a lawsuit that's actually trying to fight discrimination.
Okay, slow down, because you know sometimes you got slow people on the live. So we're gonna slow down real quick. Basically, PG County need body cams.
Yes.
These body cams basically tell the world whether or not the police was right or the citizens was right.
Yep.
These body cams and cost about $3 million for the cage for it to sit in. Am I correct?
Yep.
They've already spent that much money fighting the PG PD 15.
Exactly.
Got it.
So you already spent $3 million. So we not even finished yet.
No.
Okay, so the rest of the money gonna be, it's gonna have to get taken from somewhere
It's
else.
the
So-
taxpayers' money.
So no more schools or no good books going to schools
That's
or
right.
no police, new cruisers, no new ambulance.
Right.
Maybe can't do no turkey giveaways or maybe can't help nobody with their rent because they using these millions of dollars to fight 15 people that one lady can fix overnight.
Exactly.
Speak.
Absolutely.
That's the truth.
I think I'm getting into politics. 'Cause
And it's connected. If you look at the connection, we have officers here with the police department, but you connect that to the prison industrial complex. You connect that to the voting. You connect that to the community. The whole thing is connected under a wicked, evil culture called racism, white supremacy. So one part is affected by the other part. Once you arrest that individual, put him or her in jail with no bail, or they can't come up with the amount of money to get them out. They could be in jail 2 months, 2 years, 2 days, too long for sure. So it's all a connection under that culture that Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and many others, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and of course, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton and other great leaders continue to talk about the wicked culture of racism, white supremacy. That's the enemy.
And they're so quick to say, arrest that person or give them some type of citation.
Listen.
No, let me figure this out. Let me investigate, see what's going on. I had 2 college kids, one black, one white. Got into a disagreement, okay? And the white female's phone was broken by the black student. When they came down, the white girl wanted to make a complaint. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's sit here and discuss. Let's see what you want to do. What is it that you want to do? I just want my phone to be paid for. Do you want to make a report? Well, as long as she paid for my phone. You know what I did? I went in and I spoke with this black student at University of Maryland. She just want her phone paid for. I'm going to go to the ATM downstairs and give you the money so you can pay for her phone because you don't need a report, a record, and all she want is her phone. Okay, we come together. Give her the money. Is this over? Yes, this is over. I'm sorry, and they apologize. But no, you want someone over top of you to tell you, write the report, charge her with theft, charge her with robbery because, she snatched the phone and threw it down. No, it was settled. But they don't want, everybody can't do that, I understand. However, there's another way of working with people that want to come in and file a complaint or file charges on an individual. Find out, get to the root of the problem. I'm not here for you to tell me how to handle a situation that's going to ruin my sister or my brother out there when there's other ways that will work for both sides. So if you, and this is about me personally. I'm not here because something happened to me. I came in this department to do the right thing. It's the fact that I've been fighting ever since I've been on this department in every way. If something is not right, I spoke up about it. And when you try to do something outside of in the community, I spoke up about it. And now, what did they say? She got to go.
Let me say this right here, and again, this goes out to everybody. We're not on this panel bashing. Just understand that. We just telling you right now that there's some good white officers out here.
Exactly.
There's some good Spanish, there's some good black, there's some good Asian, all nationalities. There's some great officers out here that's doing great, work in your communities. We're talking about the people that's actually a problem. Right. But in order to fix this, we got to come up with this thing. You got to understand this thing called black code. Okay, the black code is huge. What I mean by that, that's when we are so eager to please master. All right, when we
Preach.
And what they're doing is actually empowering certain people in positions that's black and Hispanic in positions, and what they're doing is they're doing the dirty work for them.
Teach.
So it doesn't look like it's action. This is where the professional racism come in at. They place certain people in certain positions where they can say, oh, our hands was clear of that. And the reality behind closed doors, your hands was not clear. It's all about your hands.
Yeah, and this administration is big. Like, soon as you say that you don't like something, when you see that they did something to someone of color in the community, you're out. And the person who's going to tap dance and do their work for them, they're the ones that they put in place, and they're the ones that sign off on whatever it is that they're doing. So it seems like it's coming from another minority. Has nothing to do with racism,
Right.
but it does.
Promoted up the chain,
Yeah, they
just
get
like
promoted.
that.
They get promoted.
Let me ask you something, Ms. Perez, because something was trickling in my brain. PG County is, as much as it's black, a lot of Hispanics are popping up in PG County. Do PG use the Hispanic police as an ally? Because a lot of the Hispanic community don't speak English. You would be more of an ally because I can call you and to explain the rights. So did they use you more of a, Hispanics as an ally, or not so much?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. We have a few Hispanics that they always use when something major happens.
Okay.
Somebody who's going to co-sign and be the face to show that they care.
Okay. Because the lost in translation, they could be saying something, but that's not how he's going to translate it back to the police.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think I might be too smart for this. Okay, I got a couple minutes. There was one thing that I read in an article, and I'm going to bring this to you. One of the things that Angela also Brooks said that I thought was really unique: people recognize fairness. People who have been victimized, that we seek justice. Do you all think she's doing that for you?
Not at all. She's turning a blind eye. So just kind of facts. She have not attended a Prince George's County Police Department's graduation for academy class, and she's been in office. That's unheard of as a county executive. She pays the police department. So understand, for her not to show up is something wrong. She sees it. The unfortunate thing is, again, I respect the position, but she sold her soul.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, is she's condoning it. She's making these people feel comfortable to do it, to do the racism, and the power is all in her hand.
And when you look at politicians, for an example, the late, great Marion Barry, when you have power and you come into a position and you have that type of power, when you use the power, the system of racism, white supremacy comes against you. As somebody mentioned, you get attacked. So Marion Barry used his power, but a lot of politicians or people in position get comfortable and they do as they're told to do, they don't rock the boat, knowing that the boat needs to be turned over, and they don't do it. And this is how I personally see her. I haven't had a conversation with her yet to hear her side of how I feel about the circumstances, but I certainly look forward to it. So as of today,
And we
I
went
ain't
to her.
seeing nothing.
We went to her. A couple of us showed up with some video footage of an officer chasing a motorcycle and hitting it, and then covering it up. No investigation. I mean, she became part of it, big time.
Before we close out, I want to give everybody at least 30 seconds to tell everybody that's going to watch this your purpose, what you plan to get out of this, what's next. Because I know what's next for me. I got y'all on this. I know what's next for me, but what's next for y'all?
My biggest thing here, again, for this video, I think it was said earlier, for this video to get out, and for people like Alsobrook to look at this and go, we serious, all right? You're not part of the police department, all right? You run a police department, but you don't see what's going on in the inner workings of the police department. And what we're asking you to do is make a change. And here's the unfortunate part. If you can't do that in your position, we're going to try to make that change for you. All right, and that's why we're here. I'm not giving up. I would never give up, and that's just me. I've been raised that way, and I'm going to ask my community to listen. We got to stop looking at it as if it don't affect us, we don't care about it. Because when it do affect you, then you're going to go, oh, man, I should have listened. We're bringing it to you. We're putting it in your face. You need to start speaking up to your community leaders. You need to start talking to your politicians, your congressmen, and all that stuff that's going on. This is big. And I'm telling you right now, if we wouldn't be in this position right now that we're doing it, because believe it or not, we could have just walked away. But we didn't. We put ourselves on the line, and we need help, and we're trying to make a difference.
Anybody else?
Let me just say, the citizens, just keep this in mind. Just because these politicians look like you and me, they ain't for us.
Preach.
I mean, we're sitting here, they're co-signing, they're covering up. You got also Brooks meeting with the media and managers and telling them, hey, don't put anything negative out about Prince George's County. Instead of just fixing the problem. Fix the problem.
I would say, as a minority police officer, it's meaningless if you don't speak up. We're not going anywhere. I'm a soldier in this fight. And it needs to be recognized that times have changed. So when are you going to change?
That's what's up. Last but not least.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'd like to say that there are two great organizations that are sitting here, and that is Henlia, which is an organization that I'm a very proud member of, not just the Greater DC chapter of NAN. These organizations you should call, be a part of, get involved with, so that we are fighting as a community the good fight, because that guarantees our win. We win with the public. We decide how the police department runs, not the police department deciding how we run. We pay their salaries. We have the power. So join HENLIA, which is an acronym, by calling what number, sir?
It's you can call my number direct, 202-957-8822. If you got any questions, or if you get stopped, you need some advice, feel free to call.
And my number is 202 for the Greater DC Chapter, National Action Network, 819-7134. And I'm proud that these brothers and sisters are part of the Greater DC Chapter of NAN. We all fight the good fight. Let's take our communities back and run the communities accordingly, where the Most High God is pleased.
And can I just recognize Kima Harris is not here right now because her son is having her first grandbaby, but she is also the founder of Community Justice Coalition.
Absolutely.
and she would be here right now. However, of course, she's not. But you can also reach out to her. We'll get that number so that you can.
They're on Facebook.
Yeah, she's on Facebook, Community Justice Coalition,
Hard
and the
fighter.
Black Police Officers Association, Black Law Enforcement Police Officers Association, which I am the second vice president.
Let's
All right,
swell the
so,
ranks.
Look, I think I did what I was supposed to do. I probably could do a whole lot more. This is Sundays with Sonny. PGPD15. Hashtag it. Cut and edit the video. Like, love, and share. Hey, y'all, Sonny did it for the books. I'll be back next week. Steve Roy. Thank you, babies. On purpose.
Hey, you for the black hoes,